What's up, guys? It's CG Kid. So in this video, we're going to explore what Adderall addiction is like. My guest for this video is David. At the time of this recording, he had 18 months of sobriety from an intense addiction to Adderall. He shares his subjective experiences with the effects of taking Adderall, the addiction to it, his recovery, how he stays sober, to further educate the general public and to give addicts and their loved ones hope that sobriety is possible. I found his story very inspiring. He continues to give back. He works as a resident assistant at Renewal Health Group, great staff of people at treatment facilities located throughout California, and I think it's amazing what he's continuing to do to give back to others to help those who are struggling. Anyways, let's jump into it. So take me through like the first time that you tried Adderall, like what were the effects like?
When I took it, bro, immediately I felt like I was the person I always wanted to be. It hits you, at least it hits me, and I feel like I'm Superman. I feel like I can fucking think anything, I can do anything I want. Like it gives me an exhilarating feeling that I've never had with anything else before. And I've tried at this point in my life most drugs, and Adderall, like nothing more than that drug exhilarates me, like in my chest, like in my legs, and makes me just forget everything negative I think about myself, and just tell myself like, bro, if you want to do this, you can. And even though I was in my addiction, I wasn't making any money, I was depressed, like in reality. But during those moments or those hours that I would be on Adderall, I would tell myself, my mind would be at ease. I would tell myself, you're capable of doing all this. And I'd forget about all the negative self-esteem and anything negative I tell myself.
Wow. And what kind of things did you do under the influence of Adderall? Like when you were taking these high doses, was it really just kind of casual, like you're going about your day, or did you ever get the stereotypical, writing down a bunch of notes and getting into monotonous tasks?
Yeah, you know what I would do when I took Adderall, man? I lived with my parents until I was 25 years old. Like, lived with my parents. I lived in the basement, waited tables to make money, and then bought my drugs and came home. And I would take a bunch of Adderall and I would sit in my parents' basement and watch TV. That was 95% of my life for years. And people think like you'd be doing a lot of shit. It wasn't really the fact that it made me like be able to like walk around and reorganize this. I did that sometimes, but the fact was, it made my mind like expand to the point where, and I loved stories. It was always my thing. So I would watch stories, and my mind on Adderall expanded so much that I would sit there and watch, like, I don't know, House of Cards on Netflix or some shit like that. And I would feel like I'm the main character as I'm watching it. I would like internalize the person I'm watching in the story that I love that I'm watching. And I'd be sitting there like smoking weed, like on a shit ton of Adderall, and I would completely forget about the entire real world. And as far as I was concerned, I was like the character on the TV. And it was depressing if I look back on it, but at the time it felt like the entire universe was like opened up to me.
Mm-hmm. So how would you compare Adderall to meth?
For me personally, and a lot of people disagree with me, and I'll talk to you about it, I liked Adderall a lot more. I'd compare the Adderall high a lot cleaner high to me. Now, meth, like, if you use it, it can get you more up, you know what I mean? Like, more like fucking going, but Adderall was like a cleaner high. I knew what I was getting every time I used it.
How would you compare it real quickly, like Adderall to Vyvanse? Well, did you have a preference for Adderall and Vyvanse, or?
Vyvanse was more difficult to get. I liked it, and most of the time Vyvanse was extended release. And I never liked extended release ups. I like to take a pill. I never liked things that took like an hour to hit me. You know what I mean? I like to take something and know that 15 minutes later I'm going to feel it.
And then on the flip side, what were because granted you must have been through come downs without Xanax.
Yeah.
What were those like when you didn't have Xanax and you were coming down?
The worst fucking thing in the world. Coming down from Adderall, bro, after you've been taking it for, I don't know, days at a time without a come down, just been up and up and up. And I'd stay up 4 or 5 days at a time sometimes. Coming down from Adderall feels emotionally like you're never gonna be okay. Like you tell yourself like it's gonna last forever, because that's just like emotionally like I'm gonna fucking feel like this forever, and then you get anxious, and then physically you feel like a marching band is playing in your head, and it's not like the good one. It's like the one from 7th grade, like the C team from 7th grade, just banging fucking drums in your head, and yeah, that's not good. Physically, you feel like your head's pounding, your feet hurt, every part of your body hurts. It usually lasts for like, I don't know, until you go to sleep. For me, like 3-4 hours, I'd come. But I hated it so much that I would always try to find a drug to get rid of it.
Looking back in time, of course, the first time you took Adderall, you didn't think I'm an Adderall addict. But looking back in time, do you feel like you lost control the first time you took it?
Yes, I definitely feel because of what it did, like for me in my mind, I can remember, I immediately from that point told myself I want that, and I want that more than anything. Like not like instantly from taking it, but instantly from feeling the effects. You know what I mean? An hour or two after I'd taken it for the first time, I immediately knew in my mind, like in my fucking heart, bro, that was what I'm gonna chase for the rest of my life. That's what I'm telling myself. Like, if I could just feel like that for the rest of my life, I'll be okay.
And I imagine it was progressive. So I imagine the first time you took Adderall, it was probably like a 20 milligram pill.
Yeah.
And it might have been something you did every other day or something. How did the progression look like? Was it like instantly off to the races?
The progression was pretty quick. The progression was pretty quick. Within probably 3 weeks, I was taking 90 milligrams a day. Within a few months, I was taking, up to 200 or 300 milligrams a day. Never really took more than that. There's no real point in taking much more than like 90 milligrams at a time for me. Like that was just enough. And I would never feel like I developed a tolerance to it. I never really, because I would take so much that every time I took it, it would feel good. Like if I'd have took 30 milligrams 3 months in, at one time I wouldn't even felt it, but I would take up to 300 milligrams a day. So no matter what, I would feel it. And a lot of people think like your tolerance will just keep getting high the more you take. But if you take enough, you're always going to feel the effects, at least for me, because I did it for years. And the progression was quick. Within like 2 or 3 months, I was taking as much as I took for 2015 to like 2019, so about 4 years.
So what caused you to get sober? Like, what is the lowest of lows and the moment that you made the decision? What did that look like?
I'll tell you. It was, I think earlier I said 2015 to 2019. I was doing Adderall from 2014 to late 2017. So it was actually about three and a half years. I had that date wrong because I got sober in November 7th, 2017. November 5th, 2017, I was at my house. I went out to a bar. I took a shit ton of Adderall. I remember I took some Xanax with it because I would do that sometimes just when I didn't really give a fuck. I was going to a bar. And I went to a bar that night. I don't remember going in. I don't remember meeting anybody there. I remember coming to that night. And I was in a hotel room with a guy and 2 girls. And I was having sex. Butt naked, another guy and another girl having sex in the other bed, butt naked, and in a hotel room. I had no idea how I got there. I had no idea how I met the people. At a certain point, I ended up sitting down in the hotel room, and the girl got up, and this girl and this other girl and this guy started having sex on the other hotel room bed. I see a bottle of Percocets sitting on the hotel table. I pick them up and dump them in my hand, completely blitzed out of my mind. I remember it all clearly, not knowing what I'm going to do with them. And all 3 of them turned to look at me like, what are you doing? Like I'm stealing their pills. So the 2 girls and the guy all start beating the hell out of me, give me a black eye, like just all 3 of them start beating the hell out of me. I pick my phone, my wallet, my keys up, and I book it out of the hotel room. I make it to my car. Again, I'm butt naked. I left my clothes there. I'm driving my car butt naked. And I remember I called my dad on the way there. It was probably 4 a.m. I said, Dad, I'm coming home, freaking out, this and that. Because I'd always call my dad when shit hit the fan like that. And I got home, and then I walk in, and my parents are crying, losing their mind, like what happened. I'm butt naked. I just walked into my parents' house, and my dad goes, "Where are your pills?" I said, "Dad, you're not taking my pills." My dad goes, "Where are your pills?" I said, "Dad, you're not taking my pills." And I grab a butcher knife and I hold it to my wrist. At that point, my dad tackled me. Thank God the butcher knife fell to the side. He laid on top of me. My mom called the cops. The cops came and got me, brought me to the hospital, put some clothes on me at some point. And I remember I had to have a conversation with a woman when I got there about if I got raped or not, because that's what happens when the cops come and get you and you're butt naked. So, and they took me to the hospital. I had to have that weird conversation. My dad came and picked me up 6 hours later. I came back to the house. I did the rest of my drugs in the basement, and I hit my knees. I was crying very hard. So if you're asking what the bottom was specifically, that's what happened, And after that night, I've been sober for 18 months on May 7th.
And really, how do you stay sober today?
How do I stay sober today? Today, I make short-term goals and I meet them. That's how I got sober. When I put it into so many words, trying to summarize what I went over, I would make short-term goals for myself and I would meet them. I'd make a short-term goal and I'd meet it. Get a job, stay sober for 3 weeks, stay sober for 4 weeks, get a sponsor, figure out who you are, write 100 things about yourself, figure out who you define yourself as. So spiritual things, mental things, physical, outer things like getting a car. I made a short-term goal when I get a job, save every paycheck and eat a tuna sandwich every day. You know what I mean? Save every dollar because you need a car, you're in LA. So 6 weeks later, I had $3,000 saved up and I'd never had more than $500 in my life. I went and put a down payment on a car. I said, I need insurance now. I said, I have a really bad driving record. Insurance companies want to charge me so much a month that I can't afford it. So I made the calls, put the footwork in, short-term goal, put the footwork in, call 50 insurance companies, find the best deal. Found an insurance company that would give me a good deal for a year of car insurance where I could afford it month by month. Saved up every paycheck after I bought the car, put that down for a year of car insurance, met the short-term goal. I told myself that I could do this. I laid out how I could do it, and I was willing to meet the requirements of those goals, such as saving money, such as not allowing myself to spend money I didn't need to. And that's a money thing, but I needed to start being an adult. My sponsor says that my program of recovery isn't really a program of recovery, it's a process of growing up. And that's what I needed to do. I was a 7-year-old in a 25-year-old's body.
What do you do when life becomes when you something bad happens and you're just not feeling right?
I call my sponsor. I talk to my friends. Sometimes I pray. Sometimes I call my parents. I'm usually talking to someone who I've made a meaningful relationship with, and that conversation will usually get me through it. Making meaningful relationships is one of the best things I can recommend for someone who wants to get sober or clean, whatever you want to call it. Is those relationships, when it comes down to it, will save your life. And when none of that works, when calling my friends don't work, when calling my sponsor doesn't work, when doing steps, praying, anything a 12-step program will tell you, the number one thing that works is reminding myself and visualizing clearly the worst night I ever had, which was the night I described, November 7, 2017. When I can visualize my parents crying, when I can visualize the visceral emotions that were in that room and how truly just miserable everyone was and what had it all come down to my using, and I can live in that moment for a minute or two, I don't stop at the liquor store on my way home. I don't stop at the dispensary on my way home. I don't get online, I don't call someone to try to get drugs. When I can remember clearly the worst times I ever had and nothing else works, that always works.
That was really good. I really appreciate you, man.
Yeah.
I appreciate thank you for being on, bro.
Thank you.
Be sure to follow me on Instagram for regular updates, Q&A, live Q&As. I also answer DMs on there as much as I can, so feel free to DM me there with any questions that you might have. Also, visit my website, shamelessprotocol.com, to access my podcast, blogs, sign up for my newsletter, all that kind of stuff. And I'll link to Renewal Health Group, the treatment facility David works at, in the description. I love you guys. Hope you got some from this video. Peace out.